Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Crown Jewel 2024 kicked off with chaos after Solo Sikoa pinned Roman Reigns to capture a big win for his bloodline. The closing moment of the bout saw Solo and the faction overpowering the original tribal chief, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso. Sami Zayn rushed out to save Jey, but things quickly took a different path after the honorary Us accidentally connected a hell of a kick on the face of the former undisputed WWE champion, which escalated tension between Zayn and Jimmy, while the YEET Master tried to mediate things. On the latest episode of Monday Night Raw, Jey Uso invited Sami to SmackDown, where Roman Reigns is expected to address what went wrong, including Zayn's involvement. Sami Zayn's harsh truth about Jimmy Uso betraying everyone in a shocking twist. The original tribal chief could welcome the honorary Us with open arms and demand no loyalty test. This move could trigger Jimmy Uso and lead to him betraying the OG bloodline. When Jimmy raised questions about Sami's loyalty on the Red brand this week, the Great Liberator reminded them of his history of betraying everyone, which includes him, Jey Uso, and Roman Reigns himself. The animosity between these two former friends is growing with every passing week. Sami Zayn is not part of the family other than Sami Zayn's harsh assessment. Jimmy Uso had his reason to keep Zayn away from the Bloodline saga, and the point Big Jim made on Raw was that the 40-year-old is not part of the family. However, Jey Uso corrected himself and his twin brother, stating that it was not about blood relation and that Sami was part of the family. The YEET Master also invited Zayn to SmackDown to sort things as a family. Meanwhile, Jimmy still seemed upset and angry. Jimmy might feel underappreciated by Roman Reigns. Jimmy Uso proved to be the most loyal member of Reigns' bloodline as he stood by his side when he was all alone. However, if Roman welcomes Sami Zayn back into the faction, Big Jim might feel violated and underappreciated, which could lead to him turning heel once again. It seems that animosities are far from over within the bloodline now that Zayn has inserted himself back into the mix. It will be interesting to see what unfolds next in the saga. Jimmy Uso has always been a loyal member of the bloodline, upholding the legacy of his family alongside Roman Reigns and his twin brother, Jey. But recently, things have been shifting within the faction. The presence of Roman's relentless power trips, strategic mind games, and mounting clashes within the family have left Jimmy questioning his loyalty. Yet, he's been holding on, at least until the OTC, Outside the Circle, an independent wrestling faction, starts influencing his thinking in ways he never expected. The OTC is known for their rebellious nature, breaking traditional wrestling norms and rewriting the rules in ways that no other faction has dared to. Comprised of some of the most formidable yet unorthodox wrestlers, the OTC has gained fame for their defiance of authority and their belief in a wrestler's freedom and autonomy. They've even gone as far as challenging the bloodline openly, criticizing their oppressive leadership and family ties. It's no secret that Roman despises them, viewing the OTC as a group of outsiders who threaten his empire. But for Jimmy, their message is beginning to resonate. It starts backstage after another grueling match. Jimmy, battered and bruised, wanders into the locker room, his mind clouded by recent events. He's alone when he hears a voice. It's an OTC member, Alex Steele, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed and smirking. Alex, known for his strong anti-establishment stance, gives Jimmy a look as if seeing right through him. "Still taking orders from the big man, huh?" Alex taunts, his tone piercing but somehow inviting. Jimmy glares back, unsure whether to engage. But his recent frustrations with Roman begin to simmer to the surface. "You don't know anything about us," Jimmy retorts, but his voice lacks the conviction he once had. "Don't I?" Alex presses, stepping closer. "I know all about family loyalty. I also know when someone's being used. Look at you, man. You're out there giving it your all, but who's reaping the rewards?" Jimmy clenches his jaw, but Alex's words sting with truth. Roman's "acknowledge me" mantra has taken its toll, making Jimmy feel like just another pawn in Roman's pursuit of dominance. The OTC has a philosophy of individualism, a stark contrast to the Bloodline's family-first creed. The conversation with Alex awakens something in Jimmy, planting seeds of doubt and contemplation. In the following days, Jimmy finds himself replaying Alex's words. His loyalty to the Bloodline has always been unwavering, but it has become increasingly difficult to ignore the way Roman uses fear to keep everyone in line. Roman's reign is iron-fisted, and while he demands loyalty, he gives very little in return. Jimmy watches Roman shower himself in accolades and adulation, often at the expense of the family members who helped him rise to the top. The final straw comes during a championship match between the Bloodline and a rival faction. As usual, Roman takes center stage, demanding the spotlight while Jimmy and Solo Sikoa are left to do the heavy lifting. The match is brutal, and despite Jimmy's best efforts, Roman seems more focused on making himself look good than supporting his brothers. When Jimmy is nearly taken down by a blindsiding hit, Roman doesn't even flinch, allowing Solo to pick up the slack instead. It's in that moment that Jimmy realizes the depth of Roman's selfishness and his own growing resentment. After the match, Jimmy finds himself face-to-face with Roman backstage. Roman's demeanor is harsh, a scowl plastered across his face. "What was that out there?" Roman demands. "You're supposed to protect the family name, Jimmy. You looked weak, and that makes me look weak." Jimmy's patience snaps, his loyalty strained to the breaking point. "Weak? I was out there fighting for this family while you stood in the corner, soaking up all the glory. We're family, right? But it sure doesn't feel like it, not when you're the only one who seems to matter." Roman's eyes narrow, his voice cold. Family doesn't question the tribal chief. You know what's expected of you. Or maybe you don't have what it takes to be part of the Bloodline. Jimmy's fists clench, his jaw tightening. The words "part of the Bloodline" echo in his mind, but they no longer feel empowering, they feel suffocating. He realizes that Roman's version of family is merely a guise for control. It's after this confrontation that Jimmy is approached again by Alex Steele, who's been watching everything unfold from a distance. Alex doesn't push, but he offers Jimmy a sympathetic look, as though he understands the turmoil boiling within him. "We've all been there," Alex says quietly. "Feeling trapped, questioning who we are when we're constantly told what to be. The OTC isn't just a faction, Jimmy. It's a choice to be something more than just a cog in someone else's machine." Alex's words strike a nerve. The OTC has something the Bloodline lacks: respect for individuality. Jimmy sees a chance to break free from the chains of expectation, to finally make decisions for himself. He doesn't need Roman's approval to define his worth. That night, Jimmy stays up late, staring at his Bloodline gear draped over a chair. The weight of it feels heavier than ever. It's as if every stitch holds a part of him captive, each piece sewn with Roman's expectations and control. He thinks about the respect he once had for Roman, the sense of family pride, and how it has all been tainted by manipulation and ego. The next day, Jimmy makes his decision. He walks into Roman's office with a calm, steady resolve. Roman, sitting behind his desk with an air of smug superiority, raises an eyebrow as Jimmy enters. "What is it now?" Roman sneers. Jimmy takes a deep breath. "I'm done, Roman. I'm done being part of this twisted version of family you created. I'm done with the Bloodline." Roman stands, anger flashing across his face. "You don't just leave the Bloodline. I'm the tribal chief. I decide who's in and who's out." Jimmy doesn't back down. "No, Roman. You don't own me. I thought we were family, but family doesn't treat each other like pawns. The OTC might be outsiders, but at least they respect who I am. I'm joining them, and there's nothing you can do to stop me." Roman's face contorts with rage, but Jimmy remains steadfast. For the first time in years, he feels free from Roman's control, free to be his own man. As he walks out, he knows he's made the right decision. The Bloodline may be his heritage, but the OTC offers him something far more valuable: respect and freedom. Jimmy's departure sends shockwaves through WWE, with fans and wrestlers alike watching to see how Roman will react. Roman's grip on the bloodline weakens as his cousins begin to question his leadership, and Jimmy's new alliance with the OTC grows stronger, symbolizing a bold new chapter in his career. Jimmy Uso may have left the bloodline, but he's finally found himself.